Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Sarah Wyke, Director of Educational Technology at Ravenscroft School. And today I'm going to be presenting about what it means to be an observer in Canvas. Now, jump right in. What is Canvas, anyways? Canvas is a new tool that we're using this year. It's a learning management system, and it helps us streamline all the digital tools that we use with our students, all the course content that we deliver to students, and how we communicate with our students into one single place. And it creates a really connected learning environment for our students and our teachers, and you guys as well as parents who can access a lot of the course content and even see grades. So, what's going to be posted in Canvas? I'm going to get a little bit more specific here. All academic content in the middle and upper school will be posted in Canvas. That includes lessons, assignments, any assessments that are giving, and grades. This allows students to learn both from home and from school more seamlessly. We also will post communication in Canvas, so announcements that may go out to all students. I would like to note, however, that teachers can decide whether those announcements can be viewed by observers or not based on whether they think they're relevant to a parent or not. And then one-on-one communication between students and teachers, and even teachers and parents, can occur via the Canvas inbox, which I'll tell you a little bit about as we move forward. So, as an observer, what can you access? So, you can see all the course content. Is With a few exceptions. So, if it's something that is a document that is coming from external a tool that's external from Canvas, you may have some trouble viewing it. Kami is an example. Maybe you've seen some of those on there, or even some Google Drive assignments that teachers have not shared or given access outside of Ravenscroft School. And in those situations, you can look through your student's account if it's something you really want to see. But most course content will be available for you to view. Announcements, as I mentioned previously, if a teacher decides that they want parents to view it, then they'll include the observers. But that will not always be the case, especially with our older students. Assignment due dates, our course calendar, grades. I do want to note that that it's important to note here that cumulative averages are not being posted. And this is because they're not always accurate. Sometimes teachers don't grade the big project until the very end of the quarter or semester. Homework grades, participation grades, those sorts of things often don't get put in until the very end of the quarter. So we don't want to display inaccurate averages, but you can see grades on individual assignments. I would also like to note that observers can view course content, but for reasons that I'm sure you'll understand, you cannot participate in the course and actually turn in assignments for your children. Okay, I'm going to move on to some parent pointers. And so I have framed this presentation around 5 questions that cause student or school related questions that cause young people anxiety. And before I get started, I just want to note that we here at Ravenscroft really think it's important that we teach our young people how to advocate for themselves. And so we want you to approach Canvas, although you have a lot more. You can see a lot more than you could in the past. We really want to recommend that you're looking over your child's shoulder and checking in with them and looking at Canvas with them and not trying to micromanage them. We want them to at times make mistakes and learn from those mistakes so that as they get older and move on to college, they know how to self advocate. They know that if they've missed an assignment, they can go and talk to their teacher, explain what had happened, and maybe ask to resubmit, those sorts of things. So before I get started, just know that I am going to present this from the student perspective and how you can help them navigate Canvas. And again, just want to reiterate to please try not to micromanage what they're doing in Canvas. Okay, so what I'm going to start with is this first question that causes students a lot of anxiety. What am I supposed to do? So there are a lot of different places that a student can go to find out on Canvas what they're supposed to do. First being the to-do list, and I'll take you through on Canvas where that's located. The calendar, which is the one-stop spot to see all of their assignments. announcements, and teachers will post these and they'll appear at the top of the homepage for each course. And then on the actual homepage of each class, there's information specific to a course. So I'm going to jump out of this so that I can show you a Canvas page. And I'm going to use my son's as an example. And he is a sixth grader. And you can see here that this is what his dashboard looks like. His dashboard has all of the courses that he takes listed on little cards. And I can go through all the way to the bottom there. And I'm going to just point out a few things here on the dashboard before I get moving towards anything else. So the first thing when we're talking about what do I need to do, the first place that students can go is on their dashboard onto the to-do list. And it's right here on the right-hand side. And you can see that he has some assignments due in all of his classes. So this is one place. Once I click into a specific class, there will be a to-do list only for that individual class over to the right. So if he or she is trying to narrow it down, they would probably want to go into their class. Another great option that is underutilized by our students is the calendar over here on the far left. So if I click on calendar, and this is in what we call global navigation, you'll be able to see, or I'll be able to see all of his classes. And you can see over here that I've clicked off some things like advisory where he doesn't have assignments, and sixth grade introduction to library where he doesn't have assignments, and the 2 world language classes that he's not taking yet in this rotation. I've clicked those off. So there may be some things, middle school community time, that you can click off. I actually want to click on science. That was missing. And so it looks like I have all of his main core classes clicked on now. I've got math, science, humanities, computer science, and choir. So it looks like I have most of those clicked on. In the child's view, when they turn something in, you'll see a strike through. I have put in a request to Canvas. I know we're one school out of many that they turn this on for observers as well, so that you can see when the child has turned something on. But currently, that is not one of the options. So as I go down into September, I can see that he's turned everything in. If I'm looking over his shoulder, it does look like he missed something this Saturday. Not sure what that was. I may ask him about that later if I've noticed that it's something that he's missing. But I can see that today he had 2 things that were due, and he looks like he has turned both of those in, which is great. And it looks like he's even turned in some assignments for tomorrow. But I can also just kind of keep track of what he has to come, which is awesome. And so if you wanted to, you could look at this. I'm looking in the monthly view. I also like to click up here and look at the agenda view because it'll tell me by day what he needs to turn in. And you can click Control P if you wanted to print this agenda view so that you had it out on your desk at home, especially if you have a student learning virtually and you wanted to just check in with them, making sure that they were staying on task, and you could keep that agenda, print out the agenda view if that's something that is of interest to you. And you can strike through as they tell you, or they can strike through as they tell you they complete assignments. So I'm going to go back up here though and click on the month view. So calendar is a great place to see what students need to do. So I'm going to go back to his dashboard. And I'm going to go into one of his classes. I'm just going to click here on computer science. So another place where you can see what to do is over here on the right again. They've got that to-do list, which is great. And I mentioned there may be some course announcements, and I can see here that she actually has had a couple course announcements that I could click on and view, or the student can click on and view. As a parent, you may not be able to see those. As I said, teachers can decide whether they want to include observers on those or not. And then you can scroll down and look through the home page to find some additional information. The Zoom link will always be here. If your child suddenly needs to stay at home for any reason, there will be a Zoom link on every home page where they can join the class virtually. And there's some quick access links that I'll go through a little bit more later on. So I'm going to go back over to the presentation now and talk you through the next question that a lot of students have questions about, which is, it took me back to the beginning here. Let me just click forward very quickly, which is, when is it due? So not only do they want to know what they're supposed to do, but it's really important for them to figure out when their assignments are due. So as I mentioned before, that to-do list is going to be a great place to look in the sidebar, both on the main dashboard and on each homepage, for students to check in to see what's on their to-do list. And you as parents have access to that to-do list as well. The calendar, as I showed you, is another great one-spot stop to see all of your child's assignments. I do want to note that if you have more than one child, all of them will appear there. So you may have to click off a few things on the list and just get down to the classes for one of your children and maybe print, and then click on the ones for another child and print if you're trying to print out and keep your children's assignments organized. And then, as I mentioned before, the homepage is a great place to go and find out when things may be due. Just clicking around on the homepage, you can probably find the modules, and the modules will tell you what is due, in addition to that to-do list, as I mentioned. So I'm going to go on to the next one, which is, how did I do? And this is something parents haven't had access to before, but you will be able to see your children's individual grades as they receive them on assignments and assessments this year. So there are a few places that students can see their grades, and I'll show you around where parents can see them as well. So on the dashboard, parents do not have something that says recent feedback. I'll show you what that looks like on my son's page, but our children do. And then you'll be able to click on grades and select a course for a breakdown, and I'll show you how to do that. And then, as I said, on the homepage as well, students will have recent feedback. So both on their dashboard and their homepage, they should see recent feedback. So I'm going to get out of this again and go back over to my son's account and show you around a little bit what I mean about how you can find grades, or how students can find their grades. So as I mentioned, on the main dashboard, if they want to see a compilation of all the recent feedback they've received, we can see that right here. So if I click on view grades, it will give a list of all the courses and grades that they have received. So that's one way to look at the grades, is on the main dashboard. If we want to break that down into classes, however, I'm going to go down. Let's click on, I know he's had a lot of grades in science. Let me click on his science class. And I can see on the homepage just the recent feedback for science. So I can see the last 1, 2, 3 grades he's received. I could click on here to see 8 more if I wanted to. So that's what students are going to see. As I mentioned before, this does not appear for parents. And when I reached out to Canvas about this, they said, well, it's recent feedback for the student. And so that's really only going to appear on their dashboard. But for you to see grades, if you're trying to see them maybe while your children at school for whatever reason, on each homepage, there's going to be a section that says grades. Over here on the left in the course navigation, there is a section that says grades. So if you click there, you can see grades and feedback. And so you can see here that on these assignments, he did well, but I can see here there was one he turned in late. So that might be something. I actually think I asked him about that and just said, hey, buddy, what happened there? And he explained it to me, and he said that his teacher was okay with it. So I dropped it. But if I go down a little bit more, you'll see sometimes there'll be and if you kind of hover over it, it'll tell you the instructor is still working on the grade for that. It sounds like it was lab safety, so maybe he's taking a little more time on that. As I keep going down on assignments from earlier in the quarter, I can see some of them have this little box. That means that there's been some feedback. And so I could click on that and it'll show you the comments. So I can see, well done, Gabriel, enjoyed reading your report, which is great. So if you want to, now I see you got a C on something, I might be a little bit more worried. I'll be like, what happened here? Oh, it was incomplete. So then I may want to ask what happened. Hey, I saw you had an incomplete on your on one of your science homeworks, what happened there. So you can see as I keep going down, as I mentioned, there are quite a few grades in this class already. So I could go through and read some feedback and see the grades. So those are going to be the main places you can go and look at grades. For students, they can look at that recent feedback on their dashboard, on the home pages of their courses. And for you, if you're trying to look at grades, you can go over here to grades. I did also want to mention, if you go into account up here at the top, this is his, but if you go under notifications, you can sign up to receive daily emails that will come to you with a summary of all the feedback that all of your children have received in that day. That's been really helpful for me as someone who has 3 children, because I get it all in one place. I can see the feedback that all 3 of them have received on any single day. But totally up to you if you want to receive that sort of feedback. If you want to turn off more notifications or turn more on, where I just showed you under account and going to notifications, that's going to be the best place for you to do that. Okay, going to hop back over to the dashboard and then back into the presentation. And so number 9, my 9th slide here. Oh, of course, it went back to the beginning again. That's interesting. So as you can see here, we're going to talk about a little bit about how can my teacher help me? A lot of times students haven't done as well as they would like. And I'm a huge proponent of having kids go and talk to their teachers well before I ever do. Even with my youngest ones who are in the 4th grade, I'll say, well, have you talked to your teacher about it? If they're upset about something going on, I'm like, have you talked to your teacher? I always like them to try first. If they have little success and maybe then want me to get involved, I will sometimes, but even still rarely. But I remember to have them self-advocate as much as possible. It'll help them so much later in life. But some places that they can go to get help from their teacher, if you're trying to encourage them, is first the inbox. Most of our teachers now would like their students to contact them via the Canvas inbox. You can also message teachers via the Canvas inbox. On the homepage. So on the homepage, there should be contact information for each individual teacher. I will show you how that is the case in just a moment. Announcements, you can read through announcements and just make sure that your child, if they are struggling with organization, is reading through their announcements so that they're not missing anything important that a teacher may send out. When the teacher sends an announcement, the student should also receive an email about it. And then if they need help with Canvas in particular, they could go on the icon in global navigation to reach out to a representative at Canvas, get some support, or reach out to their teacher via that, or also just reach out to me if it's something that you've reached out to the teacher about and you're not getting help on Canvas. You can also reach out to me. So I'm going to, as I did previously, go back into the class and show you a little bit about Canvas inbox in particular. So if I go into inbox over here on the left, I'm of course in my child's view, not my view. I can see who he has communicated with. And it looks like a lot of messages between him and his computer science teacher. Here I can see good afternoon parents and students, and this one was sent to observers as well. So I actually received this in my inbox. But if you want to send, or your child wants to send a message to their teacher, they just go up to compose a new message. They would select the course under their favorite courses. And so if he wants to send something to his humanities teacher, he would click there, and that is Mr. Asplund. Mr. A, there it comes up right away. And he could put some sort of subject. We'll just put this here just to have it there. And then you can write a quick message. I could also include an attachment or a video if need be. Sometimes students are having trouble submitting things in Canvas, and they've been attaching them in Canvas inbox, and that works pretty well. And then you just send it right along. So that's how to use the Canvas inbox and to send a message. And as I mentioned, you can send messages to the teachers of your students or your children's courses via Canvas inbox as well. Go back to the dashboard, and another way I told you you could help your students is by, and I know I saw them in here earlier, making sure they're reading the recent announcements on each course page. That's a way for them to keep updated on what's going on in the class. And I can see here that he has 2 new grades he hasn't viewed. Now, if I click on this, it won't have the 2 anymore. So I'm going to leave that so that he can go in and see his most recent grades. And the last thing I mentioned was going down and just looking for any resources that may be able to help your child. These quick access links are a really good way to go in and learn more. And as I go into this 5th one, I'm not going to click on it this time, but the what more can I do? Looking at that homepage, I'll take you across all those buttons and show you what's there. And those class resources is a really good way to talk about with your children what more they could possibly do. So we've got the learning modules down here, and this is going to be the unit overview. So you can see that she is organized this into different units. I have unit 1. If I go down, we've got unit 2. Unit 3, it looks like she's gotten ahead and has really worked ahead in Canvas all the way through unit 4 or 5. So this is one way for students to go in and look through maybe what more they can do, what they can do next at least. And I can go back to home. If I go down to the bottom there, it might be helpful, especially with your younger children, is going over the course syllabus with them. So if you click on course syllabus, there should be a link that takes you to, and I can't access this because I'm signed in as Gabriel, which is why I can access it. But it should take you to a link. I'm not signed in to his Google Drive, just into his Canvas, so I can't look at it. But you can be able to go through the course syllabus with your child. And then the course syllabus has the grading expectations on it, but they are also under this button for quicker access in case you're wanting to know how grades will appear on report card. This looks pretty basic. Some teachers have more information. Just completely depends on the teacher and how they grade. And then additional class resources. Some teachers have them, some don't. This teacher does have that code.org is an important link for this course because they'll be learning JavaScript this year. So that'll be included there. So I've gone through those 5 questions that really cause our young people a lot of stress and anxiety, and a few ways within Canvas ways that you can help them navigate this anxiety. I hope that you found it helpful. I do want to go in just before I end this and talk to you just for 1 second about what Kami is, because Kami is an external tool that we're using that integrates with Canvas. So it is also an educational technology tool. And it is built to take a document that's been created by a teacher and convert it into a PDF that students can annotate. This is really great this year since we're trying not to exchange paper as much as possible. So worksheets can be converted into documents that students can, interactive documents that students can go into and annotate. I'm going to show you really quickly an example of this in Canvas. I noticed that one of his teachers had a Kami assignment. It was in math. So if I went into math and I go under modules, I'm going to go down until I find it. And it was this one. And so when a teacher puts an assignment in Kami, you are likely not going to be able to open it because he has to connect. My son will have to connect through Google Drive. I've given Kami access to my Google Drive because I'm a teacher and I use Kami as well. You could give it access to your Google Drive right here where it says authorize Google Drive if that's something you feel comfortable with doing. That is totally up to you. Like I said before, you may just want to use it as something you're looking over your child's shoulder to use. I'm signed out because I'm signed into his. So let me just put in my password here really quickly so I can show you what a Kami assignment looks like. So this is what a Kami assignment will look like. So it takes any any document that and makes it, as I said, a PDF. And students have all of these options over here on the left-hand side, this toolbar, so that they can go on and draw on the document. They can erase what they've drawn. They can add text. They can add even, you could add all of these symbols if it's for math. There's music symbols down as well down here at the bottom that students can add. They can use a text box if they just click anywhere. There are a lot of different options for students as far as it's concerned. Once they finish annotating the document, they can even add comments, which is a pretty cool thing over here. They can, just like on a Google Doc. Once they finish, they just hit this submit button and it goes back to their teacher. And so this has been a really great way for us to avoid using so much paper this year. One thing that I want to note, if I come back over here, however, is that Kami assignments are great for you, and I already noted this, but I just want to reiterate it, for you to look over your child's shoulder at. We recommend that you do that instead of, if you're uncomfortable having them access your Google Drive, because it would have to do that to open the document. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to just end with this last slide, and I'm sorry it's not letting me it goes to the beginning every time, but with just a few resources. And these are some great resources for you to take note of. I will keep this up for just a moment. I've created a Canvas FAQs document. You can go to this bit.ly. So http://bit.ly/Canvas FAQs 4 parents. And that's going to have a lot of commonly asked questions and even the login information that you will need to get into Canvas as an observer. Then I've created a document called Tips for Observers, and you can find that at http://bit.ly/10 tips for, again, the number 4, observers. And this will take you through some tips as a parent, much like this presentation, but maybe a few other things too that will be helpful to you. And then if you have any course specific questions, if there's something on Canvas that you don't understand that's specific to a course, please reach out to the teacher first. And I say reach out, I really mean have your child reach out first and ask the question. And if then you're not getting the answer, then maybe you can reach out to the parent. And then for general questions about Canvas, please always reach out to me, sarah.wyke@ravenscroft.org at any time. And I'm happy to help. I hope that you found this useful, and I really appreciate your time today. And I hope that you have a great day and a really good experience with Canvas. Thank you so much for your time.